welcome to Camera Talk. This week it's all about Mamiya Sekor. There's some really nice lenses out there. I've got two of them. So let's talk about a little Mamiya from Mia to you. Be back in just a second.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. So this week we've got another episode. Hopefully something that may interest a few of you at least out there in camera land or photography world.
The wonderful world of Cameraland.
This week's focus is going to be on another Japanese company. It was famous throughout the day and even on into today. And its name is Mamiya Sekor. And the history of Mamiya, of course, starts way back when, like a lot of the camera companies that are out there today, or optics companies. Mamiya started off before Sekor was added to it. Mamiya started off in 1940. Again, back in World War II era. It was actually just before the war started. But they created their small company based out of Tokyo.
One ticket to Tokyo, please.
And created a few cameras and lenses at their time, but they grew rapidly. Within just a couple of years, they tripled in size. Ended up with 150 some odd employees and whatnot. And then, of course, the war played out the way it did, and Japan ended up surrendering. In 1945.
That from this solemn occasion, a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past.
The thing that made Mamiya famous at that particular time was they were the very first optics company to be given permission, because they had orders come through for purchasing. So they're the first company to go full-scale production back into service again. And this, this was news that came to them only 1 month after the end of the war. So by January 1946, they were pumping out a bunch of cameras and lenses and whatnot. And 1950, Sekor was added to the name Mamiya Sekor, and there's two variations of where Sekor came from. One is that it was derived from another Japanese optics term, Setagaya Koki Renzu, and Renzu means lenses. So the SE is from the Setagaya, and the Koki, the KO is from that, and the R is from Renzu. And then there's another school of thought out there that there was another light metering company called Seconics that the Mamiya purchased, and so they think the name came from that too. So we're not 100% sure, at least I'm not anyway.
When you assume, you make an ass of you and me.
So I'm going to tell you both options, and you can take it from there. So throughout the 1960s and 70s, they created cameras for the 35 millimeter market, but then they got out of it in the 1980s altogether. All throughout this time they've been building medium format cameras, but by 1984, through mismanagement or just through competition or whatever it was, they went bankrupt. And so through restructuring and whatnot, they came out of their bankruptcy focused strictly on medium format cameras and lenses. So that's what they're famous for. And they ended up selling off their camera division in 2006 to a company called Cosmo Digital Imaging, who then collaborated with first Phase 1 and then Leaf. So now they're Leaf Phase 1 Mamiya company. So they create their digital format, their medium format cameras and lenses. And they're all super high quality. They're fantastic bits of equipment, but they're way out of my price range. So I'm not going to go out and buy them anytime soon.
No way.
But what I have here for you today, to give a little sample of their quality, are two lenses from, again, back in their 35mm days, SLR days. And the first one is what I have on my Sony right now. And for those who watch my channel, you know I shoot mostly with my Sony A7R II. And what I have on it today is a 55mm 1.8 lens from Mamiya Sekor. And it is a 6 element in 4 groups, 6 aperture blades. That was one thing that actually set these apart from a lot of other companies of the day, is they pretty much stuck with six blades for their lenses. And as you know, that affects the quality of bokeh and whatnot, or the out of focus, the quality of the out of focus background, which is called bokeh. Its minimum focus distance is 1/2 meter, so you can get fairly close in on things. So it's a good good range for that. And I've read online some people complain about the focus ring being a little stiff. Mine's as smooth as if it was brand new right out of the package. It's very comparable to the super multi-coated Takamars that everybody raves on about. I have to agree for the quality. Plus, it's got a cool look with the chrome, the chrome nose end of it here, with obviously silver aperture ring at the bottom and the black focusing ring. It's a cool looking lens. It's single coated. I guess that could be a drawback for some people, but under obviously the right shooting conditions, that really doesn't matter. So I have an Auto Mamiya Sekor 55mm 1.8, and it is again a really nice lens. I've taken photos of my world famous model family member, Mr. Dylan. He's, what is he, coming up on 22 weeks old now? And so I've taken some photos of him in his various modeling poses. But besides taking pictures of him, I do my usual photo of my Canon M50, which is filming this video right now. So let me do that for you to give you a idea of what it's like to shoot something this close. So I focus as usual, and make sure I'm wide open here. I always shoot everything wide open to give you that perspective. And I focus in on the end of my 15 to 45 EFM lens. So here we are. Excellent. So, as I said, I'm going to include this, and right now I'll show you some pictures that I took just this morning of my son Dylan in his glory. So take a look at this. All right, so that is my 55. Oh, I forgot to mention too. The mount on the ones I have anyway are M42, so they're screw mount.
Hey, screw you!
The adapters just screw right on. Makes it very easy to put these on your camera. The next one that I have here is a slightly different model. This one is the SX.
6.
Which is one of the later designs. It's from the 1970s. Oh, I forgot the dates on these things. This particular one was designed and produced between 1966 and 1968, in that range. Whereas in this one is a 70s child. And this is a Mamiya Sekor, Auto Mamiya Sekor 135 f2.8, and it's a little simpler design. You know, it's 4 elements and 4 groups. Again, six aperture blades.
6.
And as I said, the construction is great. I mean, it's nice and smooth. Can't complain about that. One of the things, though, you have to be wary of with the SX model is that even though it's a M42 screw mount, just like its little brother here, the 55.
His brother from another mother.
But the way the SX aperture ring is constructed, there's and I know you're not going to see this on the video, but I'll describe it to you. At the bottom here, there's an extra lip, and it's metal. Of course, it's all part of the aperture ring, but it overhangs the end of the bottom plate. So when you screw this flush against the bottom of the lens, the overhang obviously rubs up against the end of the aperture, or the end of the aperture adapter, and therefore once you've screwed it tight, you can't change the aperture ring. So there's a few different things that people do online. Either they modify the adapter by removing material here so that it goes flush up against it. I'm not mechanically inclined to be doing that, plus I don't have the equipment to do it anyway.
I hate math.
Or be removing metal from the adapter. So basically my method is to determine what aperture I'm into shooting that day, whether it's 2.8 or 4 or 5.6, whatever it is. And once I've set the aperture, then I screw the M42 flush up against it, and now that aperture ring cannot move anywhere, which is okay because that's what I've set anyway. And then if I want to move it perchance, let's say I'm at 2.8 right now and I want to move it to 5.6, I just back off the adapter a little bit, change my aperture ring to 5.6, and then tighten it back up again. And some people might say, oh, that's a pain in the ass to do, oh, you know, whatever, whiners and moaners. The world's full of complainers. But anyway, that's what I would do if you don't want to go, changing, removing material from here. The other thing you could do too, there are some specialized adapters out there which may fit with this just fine, that have a raised center element to mount flush up against the bottom. But I think it was a company out of Germany that produced those, but I tried to look for them online. I didn't see them anywhere. So, but rumor is that they're out there. But anyway, it's not that big of a deal to me because I'm a portrait shooter. So 135, I'm pretty much going to look at lower elements anyway, or lower aperture settings, and I'm going to shoot with that. And because my subjects aren't running around, moving anywhere, it's not action sports or anything, I can take the time to unscrew, reset, and then screw it back in again. It's not a showstopper for me. So anyway, on with the description about this. The minimum focus distance on this one is 1.5 meters, which is kind of typical for a lot of 135 millimeter lenses. It's heavy. It's one of the other differences between this one and a few of the other 135s that I have in my collection. It's 500 grams, so it's quite heavy. Another benefit to those out there is the retractable lens hood. So it's obviously not very big.
It matters.
It's not that great. Myself, I would probably use because it's a threaded filter mount here. So I would get a larger lens hood on this thing. But anyway, it's as I said, it's a great lens. It's very sharp, and I have some, again, photos of Mr. Dillon in his full glory. So let me do my usual, get you a shot of my lens here, or shot of the end of the lens on my M50, and give you a little sample of how that's going to go. You have to back up a little bit because of the minimum focus distance on that. And there we go, nice and sharp. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so you can also get a sense of the out of focus background and the type of bokeh that's also produced by this baby here. All right, so because it's only 2 lenses that I have in the family, as I said, the Mamiya Sekor didn't make a whole lot of 35 millimeter lenses, so most of my lenses, or most of the lenses that they produce, are medium format lenses. So I've got at least two of the better lenses anyway, and they're great color rendition, great sharpness, even wide open. And again, the Mamiya Sekor 55 millimeter 1.8 is actually a little better wide open for sharpness than the Takamars.
Get the fuck out of here.
Of course, all the Takamar lovers out there are like, how dare you say that about my Takamar? But Mamiya Sekor, good job, people. So anyway, that's all I have for you this week. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button for me. Help support my channel. Get the exposure out there. So this is Mamiya Sekor. This was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott, and brought to you by Modesty Photography, where we try to introduce new photographers to options such as manual focus lenses. Saves you a lot of money. You know, these were not expensive. Again, maybe $50–$60. This one was, you know, maybe about the same, $50–$60. I'll post the prices up here, what I'm talking about on that. And you know, again, I'm here for you because you belong here at Modesty Photography. So come back next week and we'll talk about some more stuff, and hopefully I can save you money, maybe teach you a trick or two of you know, how to make these things work best for you. And we'll see you when we see you. All right, so have yourself a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Keep that COVID-19 away from you, right? Yeah. Don't touch the face. Wear your mask.
Would you like to see my mask?
And I'll see you on the flip side. All right. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always